will affect all of us.
For years, learning standards, the expectations of what students should learn and know, were developed largely by local school districts, which meant thousands of different sets of standards. But in the late 80s, a movement began to improve learning standards, and states took on the task.
Well, not surprisingly, those standards were literally all over the map. Some states did a very good job and set standards that were clear and specific and rigorous and had set at a high level, and most states, though, did not.
In states and communities where students of color, low-income students, and Native students are in hyper-concentrated numbers, those students face really an onslaught of challenges that are, in many cases, exacerbated by lower quality standards.
And it wasn't just a problem that the standards were necessarily low, though many of them were. It was also that they were just so vague and confusing.
You would have a table of folks who were writing the standards about geometry, and a different table of folks who were writing the standards about algebra, and a different table of folks who were writing the standards about number and operation, and they all elaborated those subjects to their heart's content, and then everything was stapled together, and that was made the standards, without thinking carefully about whether this resulting body of knowledge was teachable in a year.
These vague and varying standards created problems when the No Child Left Behind law began to hold states accountable with tests based on the different standards. And despite all the reforms, American test scores continue to lag behind much of the rest of the world, especially in math and science.
If we want to win the future, if we want innovation to produce jobs in America and not overseas, and we also have to win the race to educate our kids.
As President Obama said in his State of the Union address, we're in a global competition for jobs. This is serious. Countries that outperform us educationally are much better positioned to outcompete us economically.
A coalition led by the National Governors Association and the Council of Chief State School Officers launched an effort to come up with one set of learning standards for all states. The Common Core State Standards were released in June 2010, and more than 40 states have adopted them so far. They'll go fully into effect in 2014, when new state assessments are expected to be introduced.